And we're all dying to know, James, attempts to sign Jamie Gittens. Are they going to get it over the line?
Well, Mark, a very good evening to you. When I got here at 7 o'clock this morning, it looked like Chelsea may sign 2 players. Then later on in the afternoon, it looked like they weren't going to sign any players. And now there is still hope they can sign 1 before the deadline at 7 p.m. Talks ongoing. Chelsea are still pushing to sign Jamie Gittens. They have not given up hope on signing the winger before the deadline at 7 p.m. this evening. They lodged a bid around £42 million earlier on this afternoon to Borussia Dortmund. That bid has not been accepted, but talks do continue. Sky in Germany are reporting that Borussia Dortmund are looking in the region of around £55 million for Gittens to leave them today. Now, we understand that Gittens has been in training today. He's been at the club's headquarters. And interestingly, the sporting director of the club was due to speak to the media earlier on this afternoon. That was cancelled. Perhaps that's linked to the ongoing discussions between Chelsea and Borussia Dortmund around the 20-year-old winger. We know Jamie Gittens wants to move to Chelsea. Jamie Gittens wants to play for Chelsea at the Club World Cup. Personal terms not expected to be a problem because there's a verbal agreement already around those personal terms. Chelsea have not given up hope, but is there enough time now? Less than 2 hours left of this first transfer window of the summer. Chelsea continue their talks with Borussia Dortmund around the signing of Jamie Gittens. Will they get this deal done?
Well, if they do, we know you'll bring it to us first. James Savundra, live from Stamford Bridge. Thanks, James. James? Yeah, James. Carvey, right, you've been across this Chelsea, all their dealings so far in this first window. Do you feel they've left it too late?
With Gittens,
yeah,
I think it's touch and go. But I think overall they've had a really good window because they signed Liam Delap. Liam Delap could have had his pick of quite a few clubs in the Premier League, but he decided to choose Chelsea. So that is a big plus for Chelsea, especially because he had a release clause of £30 million, which in this day and age is remarkable value for a player who could turn out to be as good as he could one day. They tried to sign Dean Howson. They were one of the clubs who were in for him. Real Madrid came in. He was always going to pick Real Madrid. The situation with the goalkeeper, Mike Maignan, they haven't been really actively looking to sign a goalkeeper, but they were offered the chance to sign Mike Maignan. They had a look at him, but they weren't willing to pay what AC Milan wanted. Jamie Gittens is more of a live situation in the sense that Chelsea will recruit in his position. They want somebody right-footed, preferably, who can play on the left wing. Mudryk is suspended at the moment. Jadon Sancho has left. And Gittens is one of their top targets. But again, I don't think they're going to pay 65 million euros, what Dortmund are asking for. Having said that, the latest information we've got is they are locked in discussions with Dortmund at the moment. So there's still a chance that the deal can be done. My only concern really is that if you look at the history of the way Dortmund do business when it comes to transfers, they don't let players go on the cheap. You remember what happened with the saga surrounding Jadon Sancho that went on and on for windows and windows and years before he moved to Manchester United. So I think if Dortmund want to make life difficult for Jamie Gittens and also for Chelsea, they are capable of doing that. But the desire from Chelsea is there to get the deal done as quickly as possible.
Dharmesh, talk us through the mechanics of what's going on now, because they've had a couple of bids rejected, Chelsea, for Gittens. How do they get this over the line in now less than 2 hours?
Try and get even closer to what Borussia Dortmund would want. I think the fees that they're talking about now, Sky Germany is saying they're after up to 65 million euros for Chelsea to be able to buy Jamie Gittens. But sometimes that 65 million can be made up of performance-related add-ons as well. So it depends how close that second bid, which was rejected by Dortmund, is to what Borussia Dortmund would actually want in an initial payment. Because if Chelsea can make up that fee, and it can be made up in various different ways, there'll be achievable add-ons, there'll be more challenging add-ons. If they can get to that point where Borussia Dortmund will be satisfied that, yes, this is as close as we want it to be to our asking price, then it can be done. But they are running out of time. But I think Carvey's been saying throughout this last couple of weeks that, yes, Chelsea do want to sign Gittens. Gittens does want to go to Chelsea. But if it doesn't happen in this particular window, it doesn't mean it's not going to happen full stop, because it still can happen. And you mentioned Jadon Sancho there. I just wonder whether there's a little domino effect going on here as well, because Chelsea decided not to take up the obligation on Sancho. They ended up paying the £5 million penalty. He's gone back to United. So Chelsea now need another left-sided player who can play with his right foot, Gittens. Dortmund might need a left-sided player, and they've been asked to be kept up to date with developments on Jadon Sancho's future as well. So, look, it could be a few dominoes falling into place there.
I also think that for Chelsea's American owners, I think they are really invested in the Club World Cup. It's in the USA. It's a big chance for them to show off their club and attract new fans as well. And I think that's why they're delighted that they're going to be showing Delap off, because Delap could have been playing in the under-21 Euros, which start tomorrow. And they were quite interested in the idea of also having France's #1 goalkeeper to show off. And they want to show Gittens off as well. So Chelsea's owners, I think, are taking the Club World Cup more seriously than some other people, especially in the European game.
Is that why do you think that Dortmund are in the stronger position because of the Club World Cup? Or will Chelsea be saying, well, if you don't take this now for him, then after the Club World Cup, we'll look elsewhere?
I think Chelsea do have other targets in that position, players like Alejandro Garnacho, but I think it's one that they would revisit, even if they don't do it tonight. I think maybe when the window opens again on Monday, it's something they'll look at during the rest of the window, because they like the player so much. I think they've got quite close ties with his representatives as well, and the player himself really, really wants to move to Chelsea.
Okay.
Just one thing on Gittens. If he doesn't get this move to Chelsea just now, and he can't play in the Club World Cup, he can actually play for Borussia Dortmund, can't he?
Yeah, I mean, he's due to play for Borussia Dortmund in the Club World Cup. They're in a group with Fluminense, the Brazilian club, Ulsan Hyundai of South Korea, and also Mamelodi Sundowns of South Africa. So you would have to say that Dortmund should get through that group and get into the knockout stages, and then who knows, they could face Chelsea. But at the moment, he's going to be playing for Dortmund. But in the next couple of hours, if they manage to do a deal, he could be playing for Chelsea against Los Angeles FC next Monday.
Good group knowledge, by the way, Chief. Good group knowledge. Right. What about Manchester City?
Worth, and they won't pay more than that. Also, I think they believe that Borussia Dortmund will sell Gittens this summer because apparently he doesn't fit into the style of play or the way the new head coach there wants to play. And they know that the player himself really, really wants to move to Chelsea. So with all that in mind, I think Chelsea's thinking is, let's not overpay and get too excited and carried away just because there's this first deadline. Let's wait until the window opens next Monday, and we've got the rest of the summer to try and do a deal for Jamie Gittens. And if Borussia Dortmund don't play ball, we'll switch our attention to another target. Sky Germany are being a little bit more bullish than we are at the moment, because Sky Germany are basically saying the deal is off.
Right.
They're saying the deal is off. Chelsea are not offering enough money. Interestingly, the Dortmund sporting director, Sebastian Kehl, was due to be giving a media briefing to journalists this evening. Now, that was cancelled because everybody assumed that he was locked in these discussions with Chelsea and a deal was about to be done. So I want to find out in the next few minutes from Sky Germany whether he's still going to be holding that briefing, because if he is, I'm sure our reporters from Sky Germany will be at that briefing and we'll be able to get the latest from Dortmund's perspective.
Perfect. All right. Thank you, Carve. Right. Let's speak to European football. Might be off for now, but Chelsea will try and get him before the next window finishes. If they do get him, what would he bring to the club?
A winger who's a lot more direct than anything they already have, which I think is always the point, isn't it? When you're signing a player, give yourself something that you don't have already. Now, of course, they've tried different people on the left side. And I think when we're talking about getting a winger from from Dortmund, we have to talk about the link between Jadon Sancho, who's just left Stamford Bridge, and Jamie Gittens, who might be taking his place, because that kind of happened already at Dortmund. They've both come on similar career paths, from playing academy football at Manchester City to going over for their first experience of senior football at Dortmund. And it's worked well for both of them. I think they're very, very different sort of forwards, though, because Sancho, who took Gittens under his wing and actually really helped boost him into the player that he became last season, it's absolutely fascinating, really, to look at him and think that Sancho is a player who likes to beat a player. Now, Gittens likes to do that too, but also you're more likely to get a shot and a goal at the end of it from Gittens. He had a brilliant first half of the season. There's no doubt about that. Second half of the season, not quite as good. Hasn't only scored one goal since January and no assists since then. So I think the feeling is it would be better for everyone at this point if he moved on.
Andy, tell us about Ryan Cherky. How good is he?
Well, I think a lot of